In this video, you will learn how to multiply radical expressions. The multiplication property of square roots states that the square root of AB is equal to the square root of A times the square root of B if both A and B are greater than or equal to 0. We'll apply this property to multiply radical expressions. For our first problem, we'll multiply the square root of 5 times the square root of 20. Let's first rewrite our numbers as their prime factorizations. 5 is already prime, and the prime factorization of 20 is 2 times 2 times 5. Now apply the multiplication property of square roots to multiply everything under one square root. Let's group perfect square factors. We'll write 5 times 5 as 5 squared, and 2 times 2 as 2 squared. We can now use the multiplication property of square roots to write this as square root 5 squared times square root 2 squared. The square root of 5 squared is 5, and the square root of 2 squared is 2, since squaring and taking the square root are inverses. Finally, 5 times 2 is 10, so the square root of 5 times the square root of 20 is just 10. In this problem, we want to simplify the square root of 15p squared. Squaring and taking the square root are inverse operations that undo each other, so the two operations cancel each other out. Therefore, the square root of 15p squared is just 15p. It's important to assume the variable p is positive, since if p is negative, the square root of 15p is not a real number. Let's now multiply the square root of 14 times the square root of 10r squared. Let's first write the prime factorization of the numbers 14 and 10. 14 is 2 times 7, and 10 is 5 times 2. Now let's apply the multiplication property of square roots, and then group our perfect square factors. We'll write 2 times 2 as 2 squared, and move r squared next to 2 squared. The square root of 2 squared is 2, and the square root of r squared is r. So we move these two factors outside of the square root. Finally, 7 times 5 is 35. So the simplified expression is 2r times the square root of 35. Let's look at one last problem. We need to multiply the expression 3 times the square root of 5n to the 5th times the square root of 120m. We'll start by writing the prime factorization of the numbers 5 and 120. 5 is already prime, and the prime factorization of 120 is 2 cubed times 3 times 5. Now we'll apply the multiplication property and then group perfect square factors. We'll write 2 cubed as 2 times 2 squared, 5 times 5 as 5 squared, and n to the 5th as n to the 4th times n. The square root of 2 squared is 2, the square root of 5 squared is 5, and the square root of n to the 4th is n squared. So we move these three factors outside of the square root to be multiplied with the 3 that was already out in front. Now let's simplify. 3 times 2 times 5 times n squared is 30n squared, and 2 times 3 times m times n is 6mn. So the simplified expression is 30n squared times the square root of 6mn. Thanks for watching.